Ladies and gentlemen, welcome here to PAX once again. I am Gamestah's Ragnorak, over here at the Plantronics booth. Joining me here is mOOnGLaDe, one of Australia's few StarCraft 2 players, and his team manager. Now, mOOnGLaDe, how does it feel being one of Australia's only pro players in the entirety of eSports at the moment?
It feels like I have a lot of pressure on my shoulders to represent Australia and do well, but I really love it. I love what I do, and I'm really grateful that I can do it.
Yeah, it's just an amazing thing that you've done, because I mean, like, we've had the odd ones that have gone over and come back and teams have failed, but you're one of the ones that have really stuck around and really fought through. And I mean, you're going over to European tournaments and so on and so forth. How does it feel when you get up that big and you got the Australian crowd that are staying up till 3 a.m, 4 a.m, 5 a.m watching you play?
It feels fantastic, and I really appreciate having all these Australian fans cheer for me. And I'm always checking Twitter to see during a tournament, seeing all their cheerfuls and stuff. And yeah, I really love doing it, and I'm really grateful that I can do it. And yeah.
Well, that's awesome. So the big question is, there are 3 races in StarCraft. How did you become a Zerg player? Was it the old Warcraft days playing Undead, or was it what was it that made you pick Zerg?
Well, ever since StarCraft 1, I've always loved Zerg. I just love aliens. I love how you have to mass swarms of units to kill your enemy, and I love Starship Troopers. And in Starship Troopers, you got some pretty sweet aliens. So it pretty much all led me down this Zerg path, and yeah, I've been playing them for years, man.
Yeah, I'll admit, when I first saw Starship Troopers, I'm like, that's a roach. That is definitely a roach walking past there. Now, Derek, you obviously have to manage this man. How well does it go? Like, you got to send him all over the world and everything else. How do you keep him in check? I mean, sure, we're gamers, we love a drink, we love a party. How do you keep him in check for his tournaments?
Well, he has a bit of a reputation as being the rock star Zerg, so he's pretty out of control sometimes, but, you know, we've been good friends for over 10 years now. We've been playing a lot of games together, and, you know, I've had a lot of exposure to the esports scene over the last 10, 15 years, so I kind of got a rhythm going now. It's pretty easy to get the guys to where they need to be, get them, get them on their flights, get their accommodation sorted out. So generally, the biggest challenge for him at the moment is actually trying to keep him in Australia for a while. He gets invited and qualifies for so many international tournaments. He's actually had to knock back a few at the moment, just so he can sit down, stay home, practice a bit, keep that skill level high. So
yeah, definitely, that would be the hardest thing. Like, constantly going and playing all these high-level tournaments would be so hard. And the worst thing would have been for you guys is Heart of the Swarm was just recently released a few months back. Now, there was a lot of new units, there would have been a lot of training going involved. Obviously, you would have got the beta beforehand, so you were able to get that practice. How was it transitioning, trying to figure out new build strategies, new everything for this new units coming through?
I went into it prepared to lose a lot to the new units. It was always going to be like a huge lesson, and like possibly some imbalances of the game to begin with, and I was kind of right about that. And Zerg is very difficult to play, so I took it on the chin and just practiced a ridiculous amount of games and kind of got my head around it all.
Yeah, I hear Sky Toss is like the big thing at the moment still, and I look over the forums every now and then, and all it is Sky Toss is just over the top. Nerf Sky Toss, please. And I mean, like, but that's what the Pro Toss is really. It's just the big death ball. Have you found any balance issues at all with the game? I know people complain and, you know, everything about the game all the time. Have you found any balance issues? Is there anything that really needs to be fixed at the moment?
Well, recently they fixed Hellbats, because Hellbats are kind of used with Hellbat drops with Terran, and that was kind of imbalanced because they could just fly into your base and kill all your workers with Hellbats. So they kind of fixed that up recently. That was probably the biggest thing that really needed fixing. But besides that, it's pretty balanced. It's a pretty good game at the moment.
So, over to you now, Derek. How does it go managing this team? Are you looking for any more players at the moment as well, like to get into StarCraft, or are you looking to sponsor any other sort of esports at all? I mean, what's the future for you guys in your sponsorship?
Well, at the moment we've had a few of our StarCraft players retire. They're focusing on university, work, other commitments like that. So our roster's a little bit thin. We've just got Andrew, we've got David Rossi in Sydney, and we've also got a New Zealand player by the name of Thomas. That's the extent of our StarCraft roster at the moment. So there may be a vacancy there, but we're not actively looking. We're the kind of team where we're really pursuing strong brand ambassadors, responsible, really just nice, general, good people. And at the moment, all those candidates are kind of taken by teams that are looking after them, and they might be a good fit for our team, but we don't necessarily want to go stomping on anyone else's toes either. So I mean, if they become available, we might consider it, but at the moment we're happy with our roster. We recently picked up a Call of Duty team. They're actually going down to New Zealand this weekend for the AVT tournament. We're expecting some solid results from them, so very excited about that. We've also been thinking about picking up a MOBA team, whether that's League of Legends or Dota. We're not quite sure yet. League of Legends obviously being the clear choice at the moment, but we're not quite sure about what the future of Dota 2 is going to be in Australia. It's just come out of the beta stage, so there might be a big future for the game. So at the moment, no strong commitments, but we are open to it.
Well, yeah, one of the MOBAs would be a smart choice because there's some of the biggest games at the moment, like the 3 biggest competitive games would be Dota 2, League of Legends, and StarCraft, not particularly in those orders, of course. But how do you see eSports? I mean, there's a question open for them. How do you see eSports going? Do you reckon it will survive? And especially in Australia, us trying to kick it off the ground, how do you feel about that? And what do you reckon the future is?
I definitely think it's got a future. I think it's definitely growing slowly in Australia, especially, but I feel like it does have a future, and more money's coming into the sport, and more fans, as you can see behind us. Yeah, I think it's got a good future.
I think it's really started flourishing in Australia over the last couple of years. I think StarCraft 2 and League of Legends have really done a great job of helping that growth cultivate. I think, as far as the global stage goes, we're still in our infancy. We have a lot of catching up to do to Europe and America, and obviously Korea as well. But I think we've definitely set the right pace with publishers like Blizzard and Riot setting up in Australia and getting the ball rolling. We've got that support. We have that exposure. I mean, everyone in PAX can see esports right here. We have this enormous League of Legends stage. I think it's definitely the right avenue to take to get more exposure for esports in Australia.
Absolutely excellent. Now, you said staying in Australia is hard, but is there any thoughts of going to Korea like a lot of players do? They move overseas to like China or Korea because that's where the sport's the biggest. Are there any thoughts of doing that in the future, or you want to try and keep it home base in Australia?
Well, I mean, my objective with NV was to, I guess, present Australia to the rest of the world, show everyone else that we are relevant, we are a strong force in the global esports community, and our guys have done a great job of demonstrating that. The long-term goal for NV is, strangely enough, it's to kind of become redundant. We want our guys to reach that level where they do get that international attention and they get poached by the bigger teams. I mean, it's sad to admit that, but that's our ultimate goal. I guess for us, I know Andy himself, he likes to stay in Australia. He's got his family, he's got his girlfriend, he's got everything in his own lifestyle comfortable in Australia. Having said that, I know we do want to send him over to Korea again sometime soon. Get him over there for the Dragon Ball Z training environment, knuckle down in Korea for a month or two, and really get that strong practice happening. The other guys on the team, they're all fairly young. They're university students, all that sort of stuff. So they won't be relocating anytime soon. Having said that, we don't know what's in their future, so it could be something we might see NV expand a little more globally.
Well, beautiful. Thank you very much for your time, both of you. Thank you, Derek, and thank you, mOOnGLaDe. That was the boys here, guys. I am Ragnorak from Gamestah. We have lots of action coming to you from PAX, and we will see you again shortly.